click here. I hope you can all see me and hear me well. Welcome to Friday. Happy Friday. My name is Elizabeth Nowakowski. I am on the AFP board the board. I'm the North Region Director. For those of you who don't know me, and I am looking forward to this discussion because I think it's a really important one. So I don't have a degree in marketing. A lot of it is homegrown experience. I have started with my program over 10 years ago. By the way, I am with the Bristol Community College, which is in southeastern Massachusetts. So I have started with my program around 10 years ago, and it was a new program. I was hired to get the ABA approval, which we did a few years ago. But it was really very tiny, almost non-existent. And the idea was, how do we grow it? So I'm going to share with you not a roadmap. I'm going to talk generally about marketing. And as we go through the slides, I will just pop in and, give you some ideas of, what's happening. One of the things, and not all of it is mine. This is, I have researched some of it is coming from my marketing department at the college, because one of the things that you will see on the slide, I very strongly encourage that that you work closely with your marketing department and you become friends with the person who does social media, especially. But we'll get to that. So I'm going to share my screen. I have a few slides just to keep me sort of focused so I don't ramble too much. And then I hope that we have enough time at the end so we can talk about what you're doing, because this is not about me sharing my story or what worked for me or what didn't work for me, but also I'd love to learn from your experiences, because as we all know, failure is an experience and something we need to also discuss. And one of the other thing that I will mention, but we have to be reminded everyone's program is different, right? So what I am in a community college, so that's obviously one demographics and one factor to look into. I'm in a sort of a not close to a big city. I mean, I'm in near Fall River, which is a sort of a bigger city, but it's not Boston. It's not Boston. It's not Providence, right? So my target. I have a lot of small firms, tons of solo practitioners. It's what I'm experiencing and how I market and promote is going to be very different from someone who is in DC, someone who is in New York, or someone who is near a big metropolis, right? Also depends if you're marketing just a certificate or you have both associates and certificate versus if you're doing bachelor's. Then you obviously have to calibrate and do something different that works for you. So we'll talk about the audience and we'll talk about the audience and making sure we pay attention who we're marketing or we're talking to when we are trying to find new students. So I'm gonna try to share my screen. Hopefully it will work. All right. Let's find it. And hopefully you can see my screen. Can you see my screen? Just one minute. I don't hear no, so I assume you can. Excellent. All right, so let's talk about what is marketing versus promotion. We're not going to go too deep into principles of marketing and all that, because I really want to go into the nitty-gritty and what works, what doesn't work. And another thing we need to talk about is, is your program in person, is your program online. So there are all these factors to pay attention to when you're thinking how you're going to promote the program. Successful marketing really requires identifying your customer needs and picking the best way to satisfy those needs. So of course, there are some, we can say we shouldn't call our students customers, but at the end of the day, we are trying to bring someone and use our products, which is education and our programs, paralegal programs, legal studies programs in particular. So how do we highlight them? How do we make sure that we provide the products that are best for them? So this is sort of like a big picture, of marketing. This is very broad, right? It's, it's not just about advertising and promoting. This is really just, this starts when you are promoting, when you're creating the program. This really goes into SLOs in a way, right? What, we need to check with the with the market to make sure we are providing our students with the education that is meeting the market's needs. So that's also, that's all part of marketing. But then when we go down, drill down, promotions is really what influences consumers to buy our products and services, right? So now that we have this paralegal program that we created, using the market research data, et cetera. Now we want to sell it, right? We want to promote this program to our customers, our future learners. And how do we do that? How do we get the word out that this program is here? And that's what we're here to talk about. So I'm not going to talk about how do we build a program that is right, because that's we talk about that a lot. And if you're an ABA program, obviously we do a lot of assessment to make sure that we are doing that. But but we're going to try to talk about the promotion part of it. Okay, sorry, just wrong button. So there are different types of marketing. Once again, this is very general. And when we are going to focus on these three, right? So there is the digital marketing, which is very broad. This is a very broad term, which includes use of any electronic or online means to communicate with prospective clients, consumers, users, whatnot. So the examples are any content marketing, the blogging, the influencers. We all, even if you're not using social media, that when you're looking for a recipe, you're gonna find this this blog, right, with recipes, and the way they make money is by using ads, right? So that's it's all part of big digital marketing sort of chapter book, I don't know, concept. Now, social media marketing is what we're going to talk about a little, right? So social media marketing is a form of digital marketing, so that's within, and it's really using the social media platforms. So we all know about LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and so on. We have the free marketing, which is something that you create actual content, and you do posts, and that's how you're trying to raise awareness of your product. Or of course, you can do paid marketing, which would be by paying others to promote your program product. So imagine those food bloggers who are saying, "Hey, I love this product, and if you you can buy it by using this link here, and if you click on it, they get like 1 cent, from someone because you bought it using the link." Of course, ads, paid ads. So there are different ways of paid marketing on social media. We, of course, will be focusing on the free one because I am pretty sure that most of us have very, very small budgets. So paid marketing is not an option for many of us. So we'll be focusing on free marketing via social media today. And also we will talk about the relationship marketing, which is the great strategy when you are building long-term relationships with customers, or those who can maybe help you get customers. And Nathan, if you could monitor the chat, because I am in a full screen mode, so I don't see anyone. And if anyone has questions, just please speak up, because I don't have the ability to see you.
Will do.
Thank you. So what are the challenges when we are promoting our programs, in particular focusing down to paralegal programs? So, rules of engagements, right? They will vary from college to college, how, and you have to talk to your marketing folks. You can't just go up there. In most colleges, they're not going to want you to go out there and just create a Facebook page for your program, at least in most colleges. They want to have some control over the message and branding that goes out. At my college, and I can only speak to my experience, they let me create a Facebook page a while ago, but there's someone at the college who also has the admin account, admin access, right? Full access. Because just in case something happens to me, they want to make sure that they have control. They can shut down the page, or they can add someone else to update it. It makes sense. She doesn't really get involved at all, but she does the same for all pages that are created. Another example how they're involved, they are branding, right? So they want to make sure that they make recommendations what to post, but they really let me run with it, as far as they're concerned. They're really not micromanaging it by all means. I don't have to approve any posts by them or anything like that. At the same time, fairly recently, hence idea for this discussion, I've been talking with someone about creating an Instagram account for my program, which I'm not really that familiar with. I'm a little on it because I have Facebook, but I'm not really that savvy. And I met with our marketing social media person, and they didn't quite say, "Oh, go ahead, open it." There was this whole process. They're like, "Well, we want you to do this first. See if you can handle that. Maybe increase some, traffic on your Facebook page. And if we see that you can do it regularly, then we can talk about it." So there is a strategy, there is process that they have that I'm not familiar with, and we have a plan, and maybe we won't need to do Instagram. But the idea is that you probably will have to work with your social media folks at your college, and they're amazing. And I think I mentioned it later on in one of the slides. They are such a tremendous asset and a treasure of information, because that social media person, or if you're in a bigger school, a team, they know what's happening in that space, which I certainly don't. Does someone have a question?
Yes,
Yeah.
Mary?
Yes.
Yes, hi, Elizabeth. I don't really have a question. It's more of a comment. Our
Mhm.
university doesn't allow us to have Facebook or Instagram or any other social media pages for the program. And the way we get around it is we create them for the student club. And then the students all join it, and then they can push media out, and it goes out to other students in the university. At least the Instagram does. So that kind of gets around it. So if you have students who are undeclared majors, or if they're in criminal justice and they decide they don't want to be a police officer, which a lot of women do, then they might reach out to you and you get some internal interest. So it's kind of an internal marketing tool.
That's great. Thank you, Mary. That's a great suggestion. And that's an example of how schools won't even let you. I mean, LinkedIn, they don't want me to really do a LinkedIn page. And there is a reason beyond it. There is a whole process. My school is of an opinion that on LinkedIn, more people follow people than actual pages. So if you have a strong following, that's going to be your network. So the focus is on building your own personal network, and that believing that network will help spread the word. So there are different trains of thought on that, but it's one less thing I have to update. So it's nice that someone told me just can do it. I'm like, maybe it's not a bad thing. So anyway, so that's definitely you have to work with your media folks. Then the time commitment. It's really, and I'm gonna be talking about different ways to do things, and it can be time consuming. It all depends how much you want to do. I mean, there are semesters when I am very ashamed how little I've posted or I have done, because things get really busy. But the good thing is that there are some ways to do things, be strategic about it. And I actually got a work study this summer who's helping me do that. And I'll share with you how I'm going to use her for that project, because we all know we get busy, we teach, we have programs to run, and adding and keeping up with postings, it's to make it to be effective. It's really hard because you need to have presence. With all these algorithms, you have to post at least every few days. That's a lot of content. So we'll talk about that as we get to social media. So it takes time. It's time. Skill set, I mean, that's skill set goes along with technology, right? So there is a skill set, and I guess maybe it's a combination of both. You will see that I'm talking about post creations later on. So if you are not familiar with social media, if you are not comfortable with social media, if you are really not comfortable with creating posts, even if you're not on social media, but you don't want to create content and put videos together, or create infographics, whatever, that's a major challenge, right? So then it's a plan B. How do you handle it? And there are ways around it. One of them, I would suggest, try to get a work study student who can help you with that part in particular. Another one would be just focus on reposting, right? So if you're on social media, just continue to try to repost. If you do want to be on social media and you're not, then definitely talk to your your folks at your college, and then see if you can find someone, whether it's an adjunct or another faculty member on your in your department, or even a work study student who can help you get started, and then you can continue with that. Okay, sorry, did I skip? Yeah, that's good. All right. So who are our customers, right? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm missing an S here. Who are our customers? And once again, I mentioned it at the beginning of the presentation. This will vary and all depends how you look at it, where you are in time, and who are you trying to attract at the given moment. You know, these are, you know, who are we attracting to our programs? People who love the law. People, you're trying to appeal to those who want to be paralegals, those who want to be attorneys. There are some students who just don't really know that law is what they want yet, right? And how do you find them? How do you capture it? I don't know about you, but we have tons of undecided students at my college. How do you tap into those? And I have been trying to do it at my college, and I'll share some ways to do that. It's been challenging, especially since COVID, because we not, you know, at my college, not many students are in person, but most students want to be online, and they come in, and it's a community college, so there you don't have the same engagement as you will see at the four-year schools, right? They come in, take the class, and they leave. You're also looking for students who are currently working as paralegals, but they don't have the education and the credentials, so they may be interested in the program. Students who are working in legal setting, not as paralegals, in the courthouses, at sheriff's office, at DAs, on various various positions. We've seen them all, right? And they just would like to get into law and get some legal studies / paralegal classes in. Then we have students who have, you know, not attended college at all. You're going to have those who are starting. And then you also will look at the students who are already the one that will be going for certificate or maybe for another degree, who already have done that college thing, right? I mean, maybe marketing to them is a little different, right? And those really undecided, already enrolled students that I mentioned, those that are undecided at your school, they're not quite sure what they want to do, and they are really they should be easy to find, but they're not. So some of the basics I suggest. I mean, one of the things that I suggest, see if you can come up with a tagline for your program. I started one that says, you know, start your legal career with us. You know, that's my little tagline that I use when I can, right? So when I reply to a prospective students, you know, I try to throw it in somewhere. I try to put maybe my signature. And anytime I get a chance, I'll try to, you know, to use it because I'm a paralegal program. My goal is to educate students who want to be paralegals, but we are paralegal and legal studies program. We know that students come into our programs with different goals. So I want to be inclusive because many students, as we all know, don't know what a paralegal is. So that tagline, and including legal in your legal career in your tagline, and I'm not saying you need to use this one, you can use anything you want, but it's an example. My goal when I created this was to show students that this is where they can start and end up wherever they want to, right? So that's sort of one of the ways you could get started. We talked about social media, the fact that not all schools will allow you to have social media presence, even though Mary had a great idea to get around it. But I hope that all of you have some kind of website presence on your college websites. And that is, I didn't put it as a challenge, but it could be a challenge because we don't have direct access to we usually don't get, I don't certainly go in and make changes. However, the website could be a good tool as well, even if it's not the best one. And I know this is out of our control. If nothing else, I would see if you can work with your college to see if you can have an intake form on your landing page. Because even if you don't have a landing page, you should have a catalog page or something. You have to have, we need to, you know, talk about the transfer for ABA, if you're ABA school. There are things that we need to have, so hopefully you have some presence. Intake form is great because the way it works in my college, and they've created it for me, I don't know how many, maybe 2 years ago. It's, if you're interested in it, students just fill out, you know, the name, the email, how they found out about us, and their phone number, I think, and the city where they're from, because we are a pretty big county. Just to give me an idea. That email, that intake goes to me directly. So in my Outlook, I already have a sort of canned answer. I forgot what it's called. It's a template, right? Template email, which I put in with my logo. I have a logo. That's another one I actually didn't put here. But logo, if you don't have a logo for your program, you should have a logo for your program that has paralegal legal studies, or legal studies, or paralegal with your college's logo. So the name and the college's logo, but you should have it. So that's what I usually put on the top of my email, the logo, and then, it says Bristol Community College Paralegal Legal Studies Program, and then I just do a welcome, thank you for your follow-up, and I put the tagline in that I showed you in the subject line. So I said follow-up, and they start, from Bristol Community College, start your legal career with us, so they don't think it's spam or whatnot. So I send them that email, and then if they have any questions, they follow up with me. We have gotten in the last 2 years, I don't remember when I started it, 2-3 years ago. I think we have we're up to like 140 or 130. They're not coming, all the time, but it added up. So it is a useful way to get students to contact you directly without emailing you, looking for your email. So that's, I highly recommend, and see if your college will work with you. And work with once again, talk to your social media folks, see if they can work with your program and do, I'm not an expert. I don't know anything about search engine optimization. It's about, they do, maybe Nathan knows, but they do something in the background to make sure that your program, when someone searches for paralegal program, and there are, within certain parameters in your geographic area, that your paralegal program page, that particular page with the info about your program, comes up on top within the first few. Do I get it right, Nathan?
Absolutely.
Okay, something along those lines.
And
So,
Elizabeth,
but we
there was a question in the chat.
Yes.
How does this differ? How does this differ than the info on your website?
So that's what I'm talking about. The web, the info.
Yeah.
What differs? The intake form? I'm not sure what the question is.
My question is, when you send the letter, what information is different in the letter that's not already available on the website they were perusing in order to fill out that? Yes.
So it's I'm just sort of saying, hey, my name is, Elizabeth Nowakowski. I'm the program chair. Thank you for your interest. It's, the program is mainly remote. I'm reiterating basic themes and highlights of the program without going into details, right? I don't go into ABA approved, any of that. I'm thinking, what would the students want to know? They want to know that it's remote. They want to know that we're offering day and evening classes, the stuff that's maybe not really very clear on the website. And sometimes websites can be overwhelming. So I'm just trying to highlight a few major things. And many students will go in, they're like, I just want some info. So I just want to create that discussion with the student if they're interested. So I just mentioned, what is important in my point of, from my point of view to the student, may be important. The availability of the classes, and then I say, here's the link to register if you're interested, to do it for the fall or spring, depending when they send the email. Here is our Facebook page, so I send them a link to that. So it's really not, it's maybe a couple of paragraphs, but it's not very lengthy. So it's really more highlighting a couple of things. But you're right, I mean, the info is there, but we all know, maybe they don't want to read, maybe they just want to make a connection with someone. So I don't want to just say, hey, what questions do you have? But so I'm providing some info, very, very highlighted, whatever, just sort of narrowing it down to what
that was really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's what I do. And like I said, every program is different, right? If you have a residential program, if you have big school, you have to think what best what your particular students need. So let's talk about social media, because you love or hate it, we have to talk about it because it's there. Our students are using it, and we need to be there one way or the other, whether the official way or Mary's way. So we talked about the sort of the policies. Okay, so I'm gonna be a little all over the place, so please forgive me. There are different ways to, when we talk about social media, I don't know if your colleges have apps. My college has an app, and on the app, there is a sort of a discussion forum that students can post questions on. Every student, not paralegal specific. I think they try to go into the channels where major students can that didn't quite work. So we going with the sort of this is for everyone. If you have any questions, ask, and someone is monitoring it from the college. I don't go on it that often personally, but and if there is a paralegal question, someone may reach out to me and say, hey, there is a question there, but it's there. So one of the ways to market your program is through marketing. Digital marketing we talked about, and we talked about social media marketing. So one of the things and I'm going to step back and talk about my experience. One of the things that I struggled with at the college is that people at my college, they didn't really know about my program because it was a new program. An average person doesn't know what a paralegal is. So I had not only an issue of trying to attract my prospective students, but I also needed to create awareness within the college. So advising knew who we were, and just generally there was that awareness. So this is why I'm talking about creating a brand identity for your program within the college. So there are sort of all these, everything is intertwined, right? So what I started with, and none of it was strategic. Let's just make sure this just happened to evolve, right? One of the things that I mentioned here is an Ask a Lawyer story. So that really was amazing how it helped me create awareness and brand for my program. I connected as I was getting started. This is going back 8 years ago or so, 9 years ago. I connected with a nonprofit in my area, which is an incubator that works with law school. I mean, it could be another nonprofit, but anyway, we got talking, and we decided that we're going to do some community lawyering by bringing a lawyer to my college for 2 hours every few months, every month, whatever. And I would, promote it at the college, and it would be for students, staff, faculty. If anyone has a legal question, they could come in and meet with a lawyer for 15 minutes. It's like, I call it a triage, right? Legal triage. They're not there really to do major legal advice, but they just will tell them if they have a case, they don't have a case, maybe, you should go and find a lawyer for this or that. And so that's what I did. And I did that. There was a time when I was doing it every month. It was a lot of work for the 2 hours, because when you think about it, you're only serving 8, 9 students or people, right? But I will tell you that, and we even did it during COVID. We ended up moving to Zoom after, and we still continue to do it, just not as often, because it's a lot of work. We're going back to that time challenge. But the amount of awareness I got on my program was incredible because of that program. And I mean, everybody knows who I am and what the program is. Anything legal related at the college, they go to me, because it just happened organically. I did not have to go. I mean, yes, I have done obviously presentations about the program and so on. I've done the regular stuff, but this was more, it was different. And this is what is important. When we are promoting, we need to make sure that we're not just promoting the program, that we're trying to add value. So adding value in our posts is something we need to remember, because if we just keep going and creating posts that say, come to us, we are a great program, it gets boring. But to create engagement, you want to add value. So this is what happened. And like I said, it wasn't strategic, but I just thought it was going to be a great idea to create this for students, access to justice and so on. So I'm like, this is great. But the benefits really outgrew my expectations. So this is an example of value added marketing community-based sort of relationship. And it helped me create my brand. Another way I was able to continue to use that program to market, and once I realized what it's doing, I'm like, all right, now I know what I'm doing. So every time we do Ask a Lawyer now, I make sure that I have a flyer on the marketing on our calendar. I make sure that my program is listed on the bottom, that it's sponsored or brought to you by this program. So I don't promote my program with internal students, but I let people know that this program exists. So if someone is interested, it's somewhere there, right? And I have students who have come to me because of a bulletin board that I have in front of my office, which I was shocked because, nobody walks in our hallways anymore. But I had students. So if you do have a bulletin board, which I actually don't even list here, it is worth updating. If you have foot traffic in your college, do have a bulletin board. And once again, value added stuff, not just promote your program. I have nonprofits addresses. I have flyers from nonprofits, so students come in and grab one, right? And then of course I have a QR code on my bulletin board where they can find out more about the program. The QR code will take them to the website. Is there a question?
There is, Elizabeth. I wanted to know, so when you have from this Ask a Lawyer story, people are asking you legal questions, or they're coming to you with legal issues
No.
they have. Am I understanding that correctly or no?
No. I am sorry. I didn't go too much too deep into that. I actually brought a lawyer from outside. So from the nonprofit, there's a volunteer lawyer who comes in for 2 hours, and he actually or she does the work. I don't do the advice.
Okay.
So I apologize. And I've gotten much more sophisticated when it comes to planning, because I would get an attorney who does, let's say 3 specialties, and then people would come in with immigration law. So it was like a waste of a space in a way. So now when we do it, I get more strategic, and I ask what kind of questions they want to ask. So I make sure there is a match between the lawyer that happens to be coming. So no, I don't do it. I get a volunteer to do it.
Okay, thank you. And you were doing it every month?
Yeah, but then it became really a lot of work because I was just doing it myself, and because and we can I can certainly share with you when we meet, or I can do another session on how I structured it, because if you have someone helping you, it's a really great way to promote your program and help the community. Access to justice, everybody loves it. And it's it's one of the barriers. Obviously, legal issues, sometimes it's just stress. The legal issue is not really a big legal issue, but students are stressed about because they just don't know. And even though lawyers are free, and I don't want to get too much into access to justice, you guys all know the issues, but even though there may be access to legal help, students often are apprehensive about even approaching an attorney. So I'm trying to say, like, we're coming to you, it's via Zoom, all you have to do is log in. And so we can definitely talk about that, and I can do another session how I did that next time we meet.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Elizabeth, 2 questions quickly from the
Yes,
chat.
of course.
Did you restrict the Ask a Lawyer to certain topics, or could anything be discussed?
Yes, so that's exactly what I was talking about. Yeah, and the second question, I'm sorry.
So the Ask a Lawyer is to get brief advice?
Yes, it's a triage. It's really not going deep into it. I mean, if someone wants to bring documents, and it's really for individuals who have no idea how to proceed, where to go. And if they do need legal advice, I mean, if they want to engage that lawyer, that's fine. I don't get into it, but often they refer them to the whatever services are out there. It is really, I had one person who came in, and the lawyer told me later, they tripped on a campground over a root of a tree, and they wanted to sue the campground. I'll leave it at that. So the lawyer gave them an advice whether they have a case or they don't have a case. It's stuff like that, right? They wouldn't necessarily, maybe they would take the case. If there was a case, maybe they wouldn't. But the point is, it's like the little stuff like that. Family law, tons of questions, right? They just don't know where to go, what their options are. It's very brief, 15 minutes. And it's usually sufficient for what the question is. I call it a triage, legal triage. I can't stress enough when we get into the post a little, I think next slide, just keeping in mind who we are attracting, right? So when I am posting something for Ask the Lawyer, I know that my audience is internal audience, right? The whether you call it general studies or undecided students or whatnot, that's my audience. When I one of the things that I do it maybe on the next slide too, any event. So I'll just stay with that brand and marketing, right? If we focus on the internal audience and want to to raise awareness of your program being there, and it's not just students, it's advising. We all know that advisors, if they are not well familiar with your program, they're not going to send students there. So, there are new advisors all the time. Usually we are small programs. We are small programs that we're not, psychology or business or whatever. So we need to be top of mind. I mean, I try to go to my advising meetings at least once a year. When they have like team meetings and just say, hey, I'm here, this is what we have. We have as associates, we have certificate, we're fully remote, we're great for evenings, synchronous. So I just sort of highlight it because we have tons of programs. We're just one of many, and we're not top of mind. So meeting with your advisors is another way, which I didn't put on here, which is huge. And my state just announced free college for everyone this month. So we're going through, I mean, I can't even get in front of advising because they are inundated with students. But meeting with your advising team is a huge marketing tool, which I think many of us forget about. So that is one way. And then the other way is to, even when you do things which you are just for your paralegal students, for example, if you are doing a paralegal orientation, let's say you are remote or in person and you do it every semester. If you do it, advertise it to all students. Maybe rename it and call it an info session / orientation. And promote it, because you just don't know who's gonna scan through the calendar and see it and maybe interested in it. If you have foot traffic in your college, see where you can post stuff. We think students don't watch it, but I think they see it. Like the bulletin board story floored me, and it was after COVID when like really nobody walks down our hallways. So let's not, I don't really talk much about the print media, but if you do have foot traffic, the flyers do work. If you have monitors where schools advertise stuff, you want to make sure that these the orientations and whatever else you do for your program actually are advertised. Just checking time, make sure I'm not over. And some of the other events, and I think I have it listed in my my next slide, is examples of things that you may be doing or are considering doing that you can attach your name and sort of position it as a marketing tool to attract existing students, not just for your paralegal students. Info sessions with law schools. If you have a law school nearby, or school where students, maybe it's not nearby, but that's where students usually go. Do an admissions info session with the admission counselor and promote it to everyone in the college. And that's a great way. And you still do a tagline and talk about your program briefly, maybe in an introduction, because we all know that you don't have to go to a paralegal program to go to law school. So, but many students, I don't know about you, but I had so many students who don't know that I am at the college as a program, not me, but the program. They finish criminal justice, they finish something else, then they find out that we're here, and they are so disappointed that they didn't come to the program, because they know once they realize what we teach, how well it would have prepared them for law school. So there is, like I said, and I have been doing stuff for a while, and they still don't know. So the more you can get in front of general public at your college in a subtle way, without saying, hey, come to the paralegal program, which you can also do. But we go back to the value added, because the minute you say, hey, you should come to our programs, no, people just I don't know, they just tune you out. But if you start saying, I have something to offer, I have information to give you, find out more, meet with the admissions folks from the law school, what's new, what's current, Corey workshops, or it doesn't have to be a workshop, could be just an FYI, anything that's legal, you can do and you're thinking of doing for your students as a value added. invite everyone, promote it, hell out of it, everywhere you can, because it's a subtle way to promote your program. Make sure your logo is on there, Paralegal Program. Here is your QR code for the program page, your name in case they need to contact you. But it's really about the event. So that's, once again, you can do it on social media, you can do it print, the monitors, whatever works in your college. Have another question?
Yes, sorry about that, Elizabeth. I think I
No.
lost you there. So when you
Yes.
are going to the law schools, explain a little bit more details on how you're interacting with them and what are you getting out of that?
Okay, so on my advisory board, okay, so let me back up. Everybody's going to be unique because not everybody has a law school near them, right? So if you're in a city, obviously you're going to have a law school, more likely than not in a big city. I am in the suburbs, but I'm lucky, not suburb, I'm in the like 50 minutes away, over an hour from Boston. So I'm further south, but I do have 2 law schools within an hour of me. And one of them is UMass Law, which is a state law school. So
Yeah.
I am very lucky. I have a law school 30 minutes away from me. And the first thing I did, I invited someone from the law school to be on my advisory board. That was number one. I had 2 people. One of them was a professor who retired, but I still have a VP of student engagement or something like that. So he is still on the board, and we still have work to do. But he keeps me. If there is anything that's happening at the law school, he sends me an invitation. If there are any events, and because I have been going to those events, because I went to some law school LSAC event. I don't remember actually when did I meet the director of admissions. I don't remember when we first met, but I ended up meeting the director of admissions. Maybe went out to meet her. I just don't remember. It's been a while, but I don't want to say friends, but we have a very, fairly close relationship where I can call her and ask her questions. If I have questions about anything, what's the latest on this? What's the latest? So that helps me advise students who want to go to law school.
Okay.
So that's one of the examples I can give you.
Okay.
So it's, one of the ways that we collaborate when our appellate court goes and actually performs or does the oral arguments, they do the oral arguments at the law school in the fall, they invite our students. They're welcome to go and participate and be the audience at those hearings. So when I need anything law school related, a name, a faculty, whatever, I will reach out to my advisory board. When the new president or new dean of law school was appointed last year, the advisory board member brought the dean, and I didn't even ask for it, to the advisory board to sort of introduce him to me. And we've had, and I went to see him personally. I actually met with him, just to say, how can we collaborate? And, I need to go get to law school and talk about the paralegal profession. I just don't have time. But that's one of the things that I think is missing, because we know that law students are not being taught about the role of paralegals, and that's something that I plan to do. So that's another way to work, and it's on my list to do. I hope that helps.
Thank you.
So so how do we engage those prospective and current students? So I talked about some of it. So we talked about the marketing team. We talked about creating value versus just promoting. And how do we, okay, so the time challenge. I really struggled last semester with posting anything, and that was hard. I knew that I wasn't happy with the lack of presence on social media for the program, because I just was flat out. I just couldn't really get to it. So luckily enough, in some discussions with students, I found out that one of them was interested in doing the work study. So I hired her as a work study student for the summer, and she's been helping me. She's actually helping me with some program review stuff. But one of the things I just told her to start working on is a marketing plan. So I said, you know what, what I asked her to do is 2 things. One, I asked her to create a calendar of the basic stuff that I would like to post on social media on regular basis, which is sort of like no-brainers. congratulations on graduation, leg stuff, the honors, dean's list recipients. We know they're going to have the appellate court in October or September, so we want to promote that. So there are like things that we know are always happening. The orientation. So whatever's happening, I said, make a list of things that we definitely want to promote. And then we take it from there and we start adding. So we want to have a calendar. It doesn't have to be exact dates, but just how much content do we have? How much do we have to create? And then make a list of not necessarily when, but what are other ideas, like quick hits that we can sort of add to it and then work on it. So we're still working on it, but this is some idea. So what is the content when we're talking about social media? What is it that you can do? One of the things, and this is fresh in my mind because I just met with my social media person a couple of weeks ago to talk about Instagram. So this is one of the things that she stressed over and over. Not heavy on text. Has to be visuals. I mean, yes, you can have text, but it should be paragraphs and paragraphs, right? You can link to something, but it should be visuals. So once again, we go back to providing value, value. So when you are having an admissions or anything that any of the events I mentioned, you mention it. When I have a Ask a Lawyer, I actually promote it on my, on my page because I know I'm not gonna. Or I just say thank you. If I don't promote it externally, I say thank you, and that's a great way to promote the program, right? So I'm not promoting saying come to paralegal program at Bristol Community College, but I'm saying thank you, attorney John Smith, for volunteering to for Ask a Lawyer. We are so grateful to providing this service to our local community, whatever, right? So you're thanking someone, you're adding value, you're showing that you have this program, and it just creates content, right, and traffic, because you have to have regular posts. So some of the things that you could do is, and once again, this goes back to the time challenge, right? So if you have someone who can help you, that's great. But this is just it's on my wish list. It's not like I do it. Don't get me wrong. It's on my list to work on this this year. Student testimonials, employers' testimonial, faculty, anything that your faculty does, that is worthy. And my faculty is not really getting back to me with stuff. I found out that, I found out too late to, about some of their successes. And I'm like, I wish you had told me, I would have posted about this. If you get a reapproval on ABA, that's a great one. Local bar associations, great way to to get involved. And I'll talk about that relationships. But if they have events, if you work closely with them, and if they invite your paralegals, that's another way. Resharing content is the best way to do it. So that's the shortcut, right? That's the shortcut. There is a creation of a content from scratch, which may be time consuming. It's not even maybe, it is time consuming, but it doesn't mean that you cannot do it. You can just reshare. You can share, not reshare. You can share other content that's out there. And I think I have a slide on the other side. So short videos, it can be something you do with your phone. You go in or have someone else do it. That it doesn't have to be super professional. It's more authentic if it's just on your iPhone, on your phone, and then you post because someone said why they enjoy the program. You can pick up some testimonials from, let's say, if you have if you do an internship class or capstone class, and maybe students have a reflection about the program, or maybe do a survey and they have comments, and they say something really, really powerful about the program that you love. You can take it, and maybe you don't have to put the student's name. Maybe with their permission, you can put their picture, and that's what they said. You don't have to record anyone. It's a visual. You can tag them, they can put it, it goes to their LinkedIn. There are, that's not as much work, but it's doable. There is a place, I feel like I'm missing a little line here. So, no, actually it's here. So how do you do this? How do you create this content? We are not, I mean, maybe someone on this call is a graphic designer. I certainly am not. And there are some great tools that are free, which allows you to do it. One of them is Canva. Canva, Canva. I put the website here, but you can just Google it. Obviously, it's free. There is a premium package as well, but most of the stuff you can do with the free version. You can upload your images. So let's say I've done this. So I would upload a picture of a student receiving an award, and I would say congratulations, and you got a post. I usually try to throw my logo on there somewhere, but that's when it gets tricky because you have to minimize it. But the point is, it's really doable. I mean, if I can do it, I'm sure you can do it, because it was a little of not super hard, but it was just a little of a learning curve. But once you get it, you realize it's doable. If you can get a work study to do it, it's even better. But it's free, so you can create these images. They have everything there in Canva. It's really a great resource. If original photography is hard, right? So sometimes you don't want to reuse stuff that you find on Google. Copyright and all that. You don't want to go to Google and Microsoft or whatever you use and Google for image, because it's probably copyright protected. Because if you go to images and then you use the tool that allows you to just show you everything that's I'm sorry, what's the word, that is free to use, it really doesn't leave much of any good stuff. So these are good websites, the two I posted here, where you can actually find images that are free, and they're original, and they're available, and you can find some really good stuff. So, and welcome back. I mean, that's another, welcome back to our students. And you can, have a, maybe a summer beach or whatever, have a great summer, whatever. You can pick up a nice image from there and just throw a text upload it to Canva, throw a text on it, and you get a post. So it is, it seems like it's a lot of work, but it doesn't have to be a lot, because you only have to create a few, and the rest you can share, like a content from other people. I say, make sure you follow your colleagues. We all should be following each other's program to see what others are doing, right? Because you can get an idea. It's like, oh my gosh, this is a great idea. I should do that. I mean, that's what we should all be seeing what we are doing. That's a great way to leverage ideas. And if you see someone found a great article, like, oh, I can share it with my network, right? So sharing and being, aware what others are doing is a good way and a quick way to do it. So other ideas for content, I mentioned some of them. I mentioned the Dean's List. What I did not mention. I'm not sure what I meant. Okay. Let's see, graduating students I mentioned, Paralegal Day, whether it's, sorry for the typo, Paralegal Day, whether it's national or state, Law Day, ABA has stuff on Law Day, Happy Law, like there is stuff that's happening every month that you can probably leverage from someone. Articles, you can find something, just share it out, and you should, on LinkedIn or whatnot. Labor statistics, if anyone, if you see a labor statistics data, share it out. That's an interest. That's a value added content, but it's not directly saying, hey, come to my program. So to reference data on your program's employment of graduates, we need to do it for ABA. So if your data looks really good because you see that, X% of students have been hired last year, there's no reason not to brag about it. Yeah, students getting job awards, getting to law school, all that stuff is just draw a picture, congratulations, and you're done. The last one, not least, is social. No, actually, I have 2 more slides. I have to hurry up. Social media. One more thing. Use ChatGPT to help you get ideas. So I did this. I said, provide 3 confidential. I'm sorry, content, not confidential. 3 content ideas for social media posts to promote paralegal studies programs, and this is what came up with. Success stories, day in a life of a paralegal, interactive Q&A session. I didn't, this is yesterday. I mean, I actually have a ChatGPT box open just to see what it will come up today, because we all know that, today is probably going to be another 3 different ideas. but that's an amazing tool to come up with some ideas that, especially if you have time, which I know probably all don't, but some of it may not be that hard to do. So last one is partnerships and collaborations. We talked about it briefly. I mentioned the Justice Bridge, the Ask a Lawyer, which was through our Justice Bridge program, which is the incubator I referenced. We have the law schools, the local bar associations, state trial attorney associations. This is a different way, right? So this is you going after students. So this is where we go and talk about marketing a program and who is the audience. When you go into law schools or when you go into your partners, like who are you marketing the program to? You're marketing it to prospective employers and internship sites and raising awareness about the profession, but also those paralegals who may want to go and actually get a degree. Last month, I went and actually on Zoom, went to one of the sessions just like this at the Massachusetts Trial Attorney Association, and I did a sort of a session about value of having paralegals in the office, and they loved it. They loved the discussion and that's a national organization. I did it not on behalf of my college. I really did it on behalf of all colleges in Massachusetts. I told them that I said I'm representing here all colleges because everybody, every lawyer was from all over the state. So it was just talking about the paralegals, how much they get paid, what they can do, and so on. Another way, and I didn't put it here, and I'm sure everybody is aware of this. One of the ways, and this is more about raising awareness of the profession with the lawyers, which I struggle in my area because they didn't teach us about paralegals 20, 30 years ago. Is when students go for an internship interviews, they always encourage them to bring a portfolio with the work that they've done in the classes, because I find that lawyers are not really aware, many of them, the solo especially, of what the paralegals can do. So that helps me also with marketing of the program in a subtle way, right? Just saying, hey, I'm coming to you, the students coming to this attorney, and saying, this is, by the way, what we have done. And if a lawyer is not aware that we have pretty rigorous and challenging program, they're often, if not more often than not, they are very surprised at the level of what we teach, because they just think it's more of the, they're just not aware. So it goes back. So that I've been getting emails from lawyers. I get them all the time, how pleasantly surprised they were and impressed. If you have time, volunteer of the board of directors. That's where a lot of my networking is happening. I'm volunteering. I'm on the board of the local bar associations. Every time and every bar association is different, because even Massachusetts, they obviously ran independently. My bar association, local bar association, allows, it's the local one, allows the executive director to send an email to members saying, hey, the program is looking for some internship sites. I reached out to another part of the state, they don't do it. If yours does allow it, take advantage of it. Even if you're looking for one intern, send it every semester, because the lawyers will remember that you're there. That's how they, because if they don't need you, they don't need you. But you wanna make sure that the lawyers know that you are in there, in the area, and by sending that email, even if they don't need an intern that given time, it's all about being top of mind. Volunteering. I mentioned the Corey workshops, law school admissions. See if you can maybe collaborate with the DA's office. Now, with Zoom, I think so much easier done, and you can promote it to the college at large. And I talked about the law school, and this is my last slide. That's it. Any thoughts, comments?
Seems I talk too much.
Go ahead, please.
No, I was going to ask, and I'm sure others have similar concerns. So it's great to be able to network, collaborate, and put our students in internships with all these offices you're talking about. I do have relationships with the local bar association, the DA's office, the PD's office. What I am struggling with is, it's great for all my good students The students that are not so strong, and I think all of us have that there's some students who are just not going to be strong. What to do with them and how to place them, because you have to, you have to vet them before you recommend them somewhere, because otherwise your program, there is a concern with your program not getting a good reputation if you're recommending somebody who's on the weaker side. So what is your suggestion about that? Or what
My
is
personal,
doing
yeah, I mean, my personal, I have run into it too. I mean, one of them is I mean, we have a requirement where the student has to have a certain GPA before they enter the internship program. But I agree, sometimes the student could be there, but you just know that they're not the strongest. I mean, you can do the simulator from Walter Kluwer's if they still have it, because that's what you recommend. One of the places that I think may be good for those students is like a courthouse or one of those more they're not quite doing paralegal work, but they're in a legal setting, like, like registry of deeds or registry of probate, where they're in the background, they don't have client facing role, but obviously, it's still legal. And I think, I know, at least I know ABA has no problem with them being in a courthouse. So that could be it, because that's what I have done in the past, where I would say, that would be, it's interesting enough, it's challenging enough, but it's quite not the role that would be good for that particular student.
Thank you. And the other thing I'll share is that I actually went to the DA's office and said, look, I've given you all my excellent students. Once in a while, would you please take students that you can mentor? And I have students that are working in your office. Let them mentor these new students who are a little bit on the weaker side. And they actually agreed to that they've had so many of our good students. There is no reason why can't they, once in a while, they can't take a weaker student, because they're the ones who need the help most to get mentored and learn so that they can move forward. And they bought that argument and did take a couple of my not so strong students. So it's a conversation,
Good.
but it can happen.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
All right, I know we're out of time, so I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it, and even, like I said, even if you got one idea, hopefully that that will help you with the program. And we can, I wouldn't be a good board member if I'd not, and an AFPI member, if I didn't remind you about our conference that's coming up. National conference at the end of October, and I'm hoping that you all can make it, and I hope that I will see you all there along with Nathan. So if you haven't registered, please register. Nathan, any comments on the conference from you?
Well, everything is progressing, and we're in the heart of planning a great event for all of our members. So as Elizabeth said, I really do hope you'll sign up and attend. I think that as in the past, the national conference has been focused on program directors and really making sure that you have the skills and the education needed to take your programs to the next level. And we have some fantastic presentations already scheduled. The agenda is on the conference website. So if you aren't already signed up, please check that out and get registered.
Thank you so much, Nathan. Well, have a great afternoon, everyone, and have a great weekend. And hopefully we will all see each other in October.
Thank you, Elizabeth. This was great.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Take care.